Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have with me Jennifer Duchscherer, and Jennifer introduces herself as an ordinary woman who expects extraordinary results. She's passionate about health and helping others get rid of excuses to live their best life. She loves helping educate and encourage others on their healthy journey and taking charge of their lives. We only get one life, and she thinks we should live it well. So welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Jennie. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I am excited to have you here. So you and I met through the wonderful world of BNI. And as my listeners know, I'm a huge proponent of BNI as a way to build your business and your networking. And so I was really happy when we had our conversation, and I thought, oh my gosh, my audience needs to hear your story because it's just like theirs and not at the same time. So share with everybody, how did you end up getting into the world of direct sales?
Oh, goodness. I like to say it was divine intervention. You know, in my former life, I was a litigator. I litigated in the employment and labor law realm for most of my litigation career. And I saw myself, passionately advocating for the wrong in the world and bringing justice. And once I got into that world, I realized it was pretty subjective. It was a lot of hours, and I had to work for a lot of crabby people. And once a family started, priorities changed. And so, oh goodness, I wanted to work. I like working, but I really wanted more flexibility. I wanted to be able to provide for my family, but also be present for my family. And that is not something I ever saw myself saying or wishing for. I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to have all these kids and I'm going to be a mom that stays home. If you ask my high school friends, they're like, you were never having kids and you were getting out of here. And I said, well, I did get out, but I have 4 kids.
Yes.
So life started changing, priorities started changing. And I just felt like my family was getting really the worst of me. And I couldn't imagine living like that forever. And I didn't know what that looked like. I thought it looked like maybe some sort of brick and mortar business, maybe some sort of franchise business. I knew I wanted to own my own thing, but what that thing was, I wasn't sure. And just by chance, I ended up being invited to an event. I had no idea what the event was even about. I just knew that my husband happened to be home that night and there was going to be women and wine. And I said, I'm in. And I showed up. And I heard about this business opportunity. It wasn't anything I had ever heard about before. Small town girl growing up in the middle of nowhere. We just never had heard about such things. And I thought, wow, this is an amazing opportunity, or it's really illegal. And I'm going to figure it out. So I just asked a ton of questions and did my research and thought, gosh, this ticks all the boxes. I'll get to own my own business. I don't have to do the heavy lifting. All of the HR, all of the product development, all of that's done for me. I get to earn vacations. I get great tax deductions. I can earn a car to drive, even though that wasn't the driver. It was the idea of I get to own my own thing and I get to help people in a different way. I really wanted to help people. I wanted to right wrongs. And so I got to just transform that advocacy for justice into an advocacy for wellness and really became passionate about our bodies, our nutrition, our health, and how I could really, really help people in that realm.
That is such a beautiful story. And I love how you as a lawyer were like, this is so cool and so good. It's either truly amazing or illegal. I love that viewpoint. That's hilarious because I think that's how many of us feel when we get started because we're like, this seems really amazing. When's the other shoe going to drop, right? And so for you as you've been going through and doing this, have you had another shoe drop? Have you had an obstacle? Then you're like, oh, there we go. Because I'm guessing this has not been a whole rainbows and roses kind of journey the whole time, right?
Oh goodness, no. And as far as a shoe drop, it would be more of things that I brought into the business or things, mindset issues or things that I wasn't prepared for. The company and the business in of itself was always what it said it was. I mean, it is what you make of it. It's not illegal for those who are still wondering.
Right.
It's very, very legitimate. It's an amazing and one of the smartest ways to do business in the entire world. And when people don't get that, I always am so I'm just kind of dumbfounded by that because I feel like I'm such a skeptical person. And if I can get it, what? Why don't you understand this? But for sure, there's been obstacles. People quit. People quit on everything in life. And it's hard to understand that and reconcile that sometimes in your mind because you want the best for people. You see the greatness within and you pour into them and they just can't get past the obstacles in their life. So that part has been hard over the years is just seeing people come and go a little bit. It's been hard because like I said, you just see greatness and when they don't see it, it's so hard that you can't pull people along. So that's been a definite lesson. I would say the other hard part is it's so beautiful to own business and work from home. And it's so hard to own your own business and work from home all at the same time, especially as a mom, because that mom guilt will creep in like, oh goodness, I should be washing clothes or I should be making lunch or I should be doing all the things a mom does, plus running a really successful business, plus being a great wife. And so it really takes some discipline to be able to set your schedule and to make sure that you're being true to yourself and staying and doing the things that bring you joy and passion and not getting distracted all the time.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I mean, I was in my direct sales business for probably 6 months to a year when I remember my mentor at the time, the gal who ended up being, she wasn't my sponsor. She wasn't one who brought me into the business. That person left the business 6 months into my business. And I was like, oh my gosh, now what? She took me under her wing. I remember her saying this business, the great thing about this business is the flexibility. The worst thing about this business is the flexibility. And if you're not careful, you can flex yourself right out of business because you think, oh, I'll do that thing tomorrow. I'll do that thing tomorrow. And then next thing you know, it's been 3 weeks or a month or 2 months since you first said you were going to do that thing, whatever it was, book the party, do the follow-up, whatever. So yeah, it can be very, very difficult and tricky at times if you're not setting out that schedule. But I mean, that's true, whether it's direct sales or your own entrepreneurial, thing. I mean, I can say now, having gone into the coaching world, same thing. I am my own boss. My boss is amazing. And my boss can also be a little bit lax sometimes too at making me do the things that should be done. So I totally get that. So as you've been going through this business now and growing it, because how long have you been with Arbonne?
15 years.
15 years. So you've been with Arbonne for 15 years. Your kids have grown through all of this and are still, many of them, at home. How is it that you have been handling the building this business with also being a mom to 4 kids?
Goodness, it's been the biggest blessing that could have happened to our family for so many reasons. And one, me being able to be present, and being able to be at the 4:00 volleyball games or the 4:00 track meets or, and over again, my kids being able to say, Mom, most of my friends have parents who can't show up for this stuff. I'm so thankful that you do what you do and you can be here. That being said, there's also the moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, stop coming in my office. Go away. So it's definitely a balance of you have to treat your business like a business. It can't be a hobby. And you have to set those ground rules with your family. I mean, you have to let them know I am working from this time to this time. Mom's working. If the office door is shut, do not come in. You have to, and that creates a level of respect for everybody in the business to realize that mom isn't just doing this fun little, side gig. This is mom's business. Mom's serious about this, which just shows them how hard you work and, being intentional about what you said you were going to do. And when they get to go on the trips, they realize they should just stay out of mom's office when she's working.
Right? Because without giving mom work time, we don't get the trip time, right? No, I definitely can relate to that whole kids coming in to the conversation, because my first summer that I was working my coaching business, because every time up to that, my kids would go to summer camp. Well, that first summer I was working my coaching business, my kids decided they were done with summer camp. And so at the time they were 5 and 8 years old. And I thought, oh gosh, how am I going to do this with 2 really young kids at home and be working my coaching business? So we ended up coming up with a similar thing, but because they were so young, I had to have some stipulations on there. Like I knew they would be such rule followers that they would not open the door, even if they were bleeding out. So I had a sign on my office door that said, "Is there blood? Is there a flood? Is there fire or imminent death?" And so even at 5, my youngest could tell you what imminent death was. Is someone going to die? Right? If none of those were true, it could wait until mommy opened the door. And, because my kids could reach all the snacks, they could get water, they could go to the bathroom by themselves, they could clothe themselves. They knew how to turn on all the things that they needed to turn on. They knew where all their entertainment stuff was. They knew how to keep themselves entertained during that time. And so it did help to just have that boundary in place and make it something very obvious that they could say, oh yeah, because the sign was at their eye level. It wasn't up at the top of the door or whatever, where we normally would put it for adult eyes. It was down at kid level. So as you've been building this business and going through and doing this, what are some of the accomplishments that you have achieved that either you're super proud of that, and this can range anything from the trips to trophies to something that isn't necessarily a company-wide recognition thing, but something that you accomplished that makes you really proud about having run this business?
Absolutely. And one more thing about that mom thing, Jenny, as those people that are listening have little people. I mean, there were days I was literally running around the outside of my house so that my kids didn't catch up while I was on the phone so that I could have a conversation without them screaming. I mean, when they're little, it's a little harder to corral them, right? But where there's a will, there's a way. My kids just grew up in this business. I remember taking my youngest, she was 10 days old, to an Arbonne event. Like they just came along, and so many people worry about like, oh, well, they're little and I can't miss out on this, or I'm going to miss a bedtime, or I'm going to miss this. They don't remember that. Mm-mm. They don't remember being at my Arbonne events. They don't remember that I was gone at a meeting. They don't remember that. What they remember is that mom was present when I needed her.
Yep.
That's the piece that's remembered. And so the sacrifices you make to make this your business and to be successful at it are so worth it, because they're only going to remember those things, not the times that you were gone.
Right.
That being said, I actually wear as a badge of honor the fact that I stayed. I've stayed for 15 years when there were lots and lots of times when I didn't feel like staying. When there was lots of times when it got really hard and would have been just easier, quote unquote, to go back to my litigation world and to work the hours somebody else was telling me to work and to get a paycheck that somebody else told me I was worth. That would have been, the easy way out, even though I would have been miserable. And so the fact that I stayed, I feel like is a huge accomplishment, because it's the things I learned in those valleys that have created me to be an even better leader today than I was when I started this business. I am in the top 2% of the company. I'm proud of that. It took me longer than some to get there, but the reward was just as sweet. to be able to be at that level. I've taken my family on some incredible vacations through Arbonne and otherwise, and they get spoiled because we get really spoiled on our company trips. And so when we take them on other vacations that are not through the company, they're like, well, where's this? And where's this? They're like, dude, I'm paying for this one.
Yes.
So, and I'm, another accomplishment I think is just the trajectory of outlook on life that I've created for my family. We've really broken a pattern of employee mindset that we were raised with and created a world where my kids know they can do anything. They can do anything that they set their mind to, even if it looks different than what somebody else thinks is normal or what somebody else thinks is the what you're supposed to do route of life. If you're passionate about it and you're willing to work for it, you can make it happen. And that's what we've created for our family through me saying yes to this business that was so outside anything we knew, but has created a whole new world for us to be able to give to both our family and to those people that, we can give this business to. So
no, I 100% agree with wearing the 15 plus years as your badge of honor, because the one thing that not many people know, and I'll get into the deepness of this in just a second, but one of the few things that people don't know about this industry is that according to a Federal Trade Commission statistic, 90% of people who get into direct sales or network marketing are out of the business in 5 years or less. Now, keep in mind, those are very similar numbers to people who start quote unquote more traditional businesses as well. Just so you know, like they are pretty much, the numbers are almost on par. And so people who can make it past that 5th year just have so many more opportunities availed to them because people now see that you're someone who sticks with it. You're much more likely to get a customer who's going to go ahead and purchase from you because you've been doing this for 15 years. They're like, she's not going anywhere. Great. I'm going to have her support. She'll take care of me. She knows what she's doing. But obviously, she's still here. You're much more likely to get a team member because then people go, okay, she's got 15 years of experience. So I'm going to want to be, starting my own business under somebody who's been doing this for a number of years. So I think that's a huge accomplishment that, absolutely you should wear as a giant badge of honor as you go about your day and even sharing it with your BNI referral partners, letting them know that this is a big deal to be in for this long, right? So as you've been going through, what has been the favorite part of running this business for you?
The relationships and the personal development. When I started this business and they still told me to start reading these books by John Maxwell and Bob Proctor and, all these people, I thought, really? Like, this isn't, I've gone to school for a lot of years. I've read a lot of books. Yeah. Like, what is this you're telling me to do? And there was this, I say Barnes and Noble, dating myself, but back in the day, like a whole section of Barnes and Noble, I didn't even know existed about personal development and leadership. And I tell you, Jenny, I just fell in love, because I had been told who I was for so long, I didn't realize I could change that. Like, that didn't have to be who I was. And that all of these, just this voice and this fire inside me that I felt like had been stifled for so long, it was okay to develop that person. I always felt like I'm supposed to be doing something else and I don't know what it is. And when I found this business, I'm like, oh my gosh, I found it. And now I get to learn how to be better and nicer. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm so much nicer now than I was before. You're so lucky that I did the work. Oh my goodness. But the personal development, because not only has that allowed me to continue to just be hungry to be the best version of myself, again, that bleeds into my family and, and the team members and everybody that comes into contact with me, because I'm like, you don't have to stay where you are.
Yeah.
You can change it. And I firmly believe that for every person in this world, it's a choice. And so the personal development has been absolutely huge. I love it. And I'll never stop learning. Every time I learn something, I realize how much I don't know. and I want to keep learning. And the relationships, we just the most beautiful community of people. And I get fired up when I am surrounded by people who are desiring to do more and be more and have more and get dirty and get it done. And I love it. I love high level thinkers and I love people who love people. And so I said those would be the things that, I really love about it.
So I'm with all the personal development, you've probably heard this quote, but one of my favorites when it comes to personal development is, I can't even remember who said it, but it said, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. I was like, that is so beautiful. If you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go find who said that. Because it's absolutely true. We have this, I would have to say there is more personal development, network marketing, and direct sales than probably any other industry that I see out there. Many other industries do offer trainings and workshops, no doubt. But the goal of those is not always personal development per se. That's just here, let's get you better as a business person, not a better human being. And so this industry, what I love about direct sales and network marketing is that this is a personal development industry that happens to have a commission check attached to it, because you get the more you learn, literally the more you earn, the better human being you become, the more money you make, because it's just going to attract in all kinds of people, the best customers, the best team members who want to be around this human being you've turned yourself into. And that metamorphosis, that process of change, just it's not temporary. It will be with you forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest missed benefits of this business. People get so stuck in the sales piece of what we do, and they miss the fact that it requires you to become a better version of yourself. And that's going to cause people to fall in love with what they're doing and dive in, or it's going to scare them away because they don't want to do the work on themselves. And they didn't realize that was required. Like they thought they were getting in just to sell a few products. They didn't realize that they're really going to have to dive in and become a better version of themselves to have the stickability and to be excited about what they're doing.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. So with all of these years of experience and all the personal development that you've been through, what would you say is your secret to success when it comes to your business?
Staying and knowing that when there's a dip, knowing that when there's a moment of feeling like you're failing, it's an opportunity for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to learn. And that, I always had I had a mentor one time in this business tell me, when you're feeling those moments like I'm quitting, and let's say you had somebody knock on your door and say, Jennifer, I am so excited to join your team. How do I get started? And does that bring you complete joy and excitement? And if it does, then you're still in the right place. You just are in a dip and you've got to get yourself out. And it's an opportunity really just to do the work and figure out, what am I missing? There's an area I must need to grow in. There's an area of my mind that I have to fix to keep me going and to get better at this. And so staying and putting in the work to be able to continue to be successful at this, even when it was hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And what comes up for me as you're saying this is, I don't know if you've ever heard the parable of the donkey in the hole. A farmer goes and he finds his old donkey has fallen into a well, and he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to get her out, whatever. And so they decide to fill the well and just put the donkey out of its misery. And so they start filling the well, throwing the dirt in, shoveling the dirt in, filling this hole. And eventually the donkey steps out of the hole. And what they figured out had happened was the donkey would just shake the dirt off every time they'd shovel it down and step on top of the pile. And then the donkey would shake, every bit of dirt that came down on it. And I think that is such a great metaphor for the world of direct sales, because how often is it that people pile their stuff on us, but what they think this business is, what they think is good for us and whatever, throwing their opinions on us. And all we have to do is just shake it off and step on top, shake it off and step on top. You stick around and you will come out. You'll come out of this and it'll be phenomenal. So I love that you say that staying is the secret to success. That persistence is, I think, very key to the success, because if you leave, you can't succeed. It's just not possible.
That's the only way to fail, really. It's the only way to fail in this business is to quit. And I'm not a quitter. And like I said, doesn't mean that there's not days where I'm like, this is too much. Like, people are driving me crazy. What don't they understand? I need to get out. And then I think, no, I love the opportunity that is presented by this industry so much. There are people out there waiting for my yes. And my yes means opportunity to people. And how dare I withhold that opportunity because I had a bad day, or because it got hard. Grass always seems greener on the other side, but it's typically because it's over a sewage tank, right? It's like, it's not. Just like, stay where you're at, put in the work, keep moving. And your belief comes through action. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep trying new things, talking to new people, and you'll find your belief again. You'll find your enthusiasm again. It's your opportunity to grow and to just give people the opportunity they're looking for. There's so many people who need this opportunity in this life, and it's not my job to take it away from them. I need to keep moving forward. So
I think that's phenomenal. Well, Jennifer, I so appreciate you sharing your story, sharing your take on all of this. And I know that you have a very nice giveaway freebie for people who are listening right now who maybe want to learn more about the products that Arbonne has available to them, and also get to know you as a wellness consultant. You're offering a free wellness consultation and a product sample for people who reach out to you. So how would you like people to get in touch with you?
I think it's so fun to meet people on Instagram, because then I get to see who they are too. And so my Instagram reach out will be in the show notes, so you guys can reach out. I love talking to people about wellness. I'm like, the information is free and it could be a great benefit for your life or not. You know what I mean? Get the information and then make a decision. So I love it. So I'm excited to talk to people about wellness.
Awesome. Yeah. And Jennifer is absolutely right. My badass crew, you're listening right now. You want to reach out to her and have this wellness consultation and take her up on the free product sample. Just grab the show notes. You guys know how this goes. Grab your phone as long as you're not driving, click on the episode, scroll up just a little bit, and you will see Jennifer's Instagram link right there. Go in, follow her on Instagram, send her a message, and just let her know you heard her here on the show and that you would like to have a conversation with her. And she'll book that with you and help you identify the product sample that you will get to try during that conversation. So that's incredibly generous of you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love giving people something they're excited about. So I think you'll love it if you try it. So why not? Right? Don't you love getting free samples in the mail, Jenny? And they're like, ooh, what's this?
What's this? Exactly. Getting to try all kinds of new fun things. It is fun. No, absolutely. And anywhere in the country doesn't matter, right? They can be anywhere and reach out to you, right?
Yeah, Arbonne is in 6 countries. So you can be in the UK, Australia, Poland, New Zealand, or the US, and reach out. I love meeting people in other countries because I love to learn how people do life not here.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have listeners in well over 10 different countries around the world here. So if you're in one of those countries that Jennifer just mentioned, please feel free to reach out to her and check in with her on this. And if you're in a country that doesn't have Arbonne yet, contact the company and find out why.
I agree.
Become the first. Hey, why not? So, well, Jennifer, thank you again for all of your time and your expertise on this, because I think it's going to be an eye opener for those who are listening right now to hear some of these great ideas and beliefs about personal development and the persistence that really helps with success in this business. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the time, Jenny. I always love talking to you. I always learn something from you, and I appreciate your podcast so much.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I love when I get to meet listeners. But, so by the way, if you're someone who has been listening to the show for a while now and you haven't reached out to me, please do. I have a TikTok, I have a Facebook account, I have an Instagram account. They're all in the show notes as well. Please reach out and say hello. Let me know you listen to the show because I do always have a nice little free something for those who reach out, a complimentary gift for all of my listeners. Because if you're going to take the time to sit here and listen and learn and implement, I'm going to give back to you too. So thank you again, Jennifer. And thank you, listener, for being here and listening to Jennifer. Make sure you reach out to her, take her up on this wellness consultation and free product sample offer. And at this point, stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.